welcome to the LEC. Best of ones are done with, best of threes, and Fearless is here. I'm Initialise, filling in for the weekend. I'm joined by none other than the mighty Vedius.
Thank you so much, my friend, and thank you for being here to help support our fallen friends who are suffering from the bitter cold. We're getting ready for Fnatic versus Heretics, a series that is expected to be one-sided on paper, but the team's had an extra week to prepare, and we're excited to see what they've got cooking for us. It's Fearless for the first time here in the LEC, but I know you're no stranger to the format.
No, I've been kind of looking at this one for a little while, at a very different level. The LPL Academy system, LDL, has had it for a couple of years now, and we're bringing it over to Europe. I'm quite excited to see what the teams here have cooked up for this very different way of drafting.
Well, game one, we're expecting to be pretty stock standard unless they are thinking about the future. We'll have to see what they have prepared for us, but given that we are on a new patch, I'm curious as to what the priorities are, because we are on 25.S1.3,
That's really
which means that with the changes to things like Electrocute and Hail of Blades, with the attack speed cap changes, Atakan changes, and a few champion buffs and nerfs, you know, I'd love to see a cheeky Evelyn. I'm not optimistic, but I'd love to see it.
Play with my heart like that. And of course, we heard our players giving some very pointed comments about Mel as well, who'll be enabled and looks real strong right now.
For sure, for sure. I'm very excited to see what they've got cooking. Now, spoken to a few colleagues of mine. I was curious, were the Skarner nerfs effective enough? And both Jackspectra and Odo said no. They were like, nope, not even remotely. And I'm like, all right then. So I'm expecting that to still sit on the ban table. Maokai has been extremely prevalent, and it's been one of Fnatic's go-tos. And we talk a lot about the creativity and the flexibility that this new format in the draft gives us. However, when playing up against a team like Fnatic, there's a lot of champions that they're very well known for, specifically in the jungle. The Vi and the Maokai are two things that many people say you can't afford to give Razork, but this man has an incredibly deep pool.
He's been playing a while now.
He was famous for his Trundle and Poppy back in the day. We know that his Xin Zhao is nothing to laugh at. His Ivan, he was one of the early adopters and a big fan of the champion as well. But that Maokai and Vi in particular are something that I wonder if Heretics are going to try and remove from the pool as quickly as possible.
Or even if you do give them through the one game, they won't be available the next. So you can start to play around with that a little bit. If you say, well, maybe we can deal with it that way as well. If you feel like you've got an answer, not that you always do, but in best of threes, in Fearless, you can get away with it the one time because you won't have to deal with it after that.
We'll have to see how things pan out. We're getting ready for the draft. No pre-recorded drafts as well. All of this is live and in the moment. So when you see the players react, it is very much to the champions they are locking in on their screens. You can see the Fnatic faithful out in force today to watch our first best of three of the playoffs. We will have G2 versus Giant X playing up later in the day as well. So it's an action-packed weekend.
They are so happy to be here.
They certainly are. Don't underestimate the Heretic fans, though. They are a very
passionate bunch.
They certainly are. Very popular within the Spanish community, Flakked in particular, representing Spain with pride. So I'm curious as well, when you think about certain AD carries, Upset has been having a monster split so far. So things like the Ezreal and the Kai'Sa have been his go-to, but Kalista, his Kalista performance was incredible during the regular season. He only played one game on it, but after that, teams did not want to run the risk of him having it again.
The irony that I remember a few years ago when he just couldn't find a win on the champion. Now you just can't do it. He has really managed to find his way into really dominating with that champion. But draft is on. We are here for our first Fearless game in the LEC. Fnatic on blue, Heretics on red, and Skarner's still banned. It's never getting through, I swear.
Draven and Zyra going to be on the side of Fnatic. Don't want to give that strong bot laner to Flakked. The Mel will be removed, unfortunately, in our first games. It seems that the priority for Fnatic is likely going to be something along... it's going to be the Ambessa. I mean, it's been Oscarin's most played during the regular season. You imagine that the Vi combo is likely to follow up soon. Heretics naturally going to respond with the Cassante, as we've kind of seen a lot here in the LEC.
Yeah. It's been a bit of a joke over in the LPL that if you win the side selection 1v1 they've got going on over there, you just get blue side and you get to pick Cassante. That's what you get to do, but they lock in the public restraining order. You have to stay 200 meters away from Vi and Ambessa at all times because they will just ult you together, and it's a bad time.
Look at this dive comp Fnatic have now drafted for themselves. Kai'Sa, Vi, and Ambessa. The lockdown, the single target potential is terrifying, and their mindset, their goal in this game is very much about diving into the backline, locking down that target, and being able to win out on a numbers advantage. Heretics flexing through some of their potential options right now. We imagine they're going to look to try and match with jungle.
There you go.
Wukong, the armor stacking going to be very valuable against this strong top side of the map. The 2v2, I imagine, is going to be pretty contested around that side of the map when you look at how volatile these champions can be.
And obviously, Upset, no stranger to the Kai'Sa. I think it's his most played champion of all time. He's just put absolute monster numbers of games into the champion. He's played it a couple times this split already, so no surprise to see him on there. I will be interested to see what build he goes, because there's been this kind of lurking Shadow Flame third build that allows your passive to crit going on.
Of course there has been.
It's so silly.
Kai'Sa comes up with a new build every week, similar to Ezreal.
I mean, that's not ironic. It's on the page right now as well. Talia, Poppy off the table, trying to get rid of slightly different angles from both teams.
I mean, Fnatic definitely eyeing up a Rel right now, following up along that strong crowd control ability, the dive threat. I mean, you can already see it coming out from the rest of the composition. They're like looking for a very stock standard and traditional mage as well. Something like potentially the Victor, maybe even the Azir. Hui could also work as a potential follow-up without necessarily having to follow up on that dive. They have a lot of options for themselves depending on where they want to go. Heretics have a lot of team fighting available to themselves. They're actually going to take away the Rakan, and I like this adaptation. Mikyx, very well known for his Rakan throughout his history here in the LEC. But again, Rel very much screaming like the primary priority pick, and perhaps Heretics will look to take that away. Depends if they want to really pair that up with the Ezreal. I
mean, when I was following Stend in ERLs, for me, he was the Rel player, so it would make a lot of sense. And you've already got a Wukong to go in alongside, help set up for those really big cyclones. So feels like a no-brainer. I tend to agree with you.
And the Rel ban is going to come through, and they will deny that away from Stend.
That's what I get for looking at you instead of the screen.
It's all good. Now the question is, what direction will you imagine support is going to be the lock-in here? Will give Fnatic's bot side of the map a bit of an advantage, but it's a question of, do they want to blind pick that mid lane, expecting very much mage? They could just go for something like a Victor. No, they're going to go for the Ahri. So a bit more of a stronger mid-jungle combo. Nice setup with Ahri to follow up on the Wukong, either get the knock-up to connect into the charm, or the charm to then follow up with the knock-up. So just a very strong duo that can set you up for early skirmishes effectively.
And it breaks up an Ahri Vi combo, which was a big thing back when the last time Vi was seriously meta. So I can see why that's going, but I don't think Humanoid is going to be too upset about getting an Azir. Put a lot of time into that champion too, and now just waiting to see what Mikyx has cooked up for support, unless there's something very weird with this draft, and Mikyx has cooked us up something very special by running something like Ambessa support, but I highly doubt that.
He's just playing with our hearts. I imagine it's going to be something like the Leona. It depends how much more engaged they feel like they need. They're hovering through a bunch of champions right now. We're going to get the Elise support. We've seen it a little bit here in Europe, Hilly being one of the early adopters of it, but around the world it's been very popular. Carrier in particular, very proficient on the champion. We're going to get to see how Mickey fares with the Elise. He's going to have a lot of individual agency. And again, like, look at the single target lockdown on the side of Fnatic. They have the scaling insurance of Humanoid on the Azir, and as you highlighted, something that he is very comfortable on when you look back at his very storied career. But, I mean, I guess you could argue single target damage in the sense of they want to lock down the Ezreal, they want to lock down the Ahri, they want to execute them as quickly as possible and then turn it into a numbers advantage fight. They have a lot of skirmishing power thanks to the mobility on Ambessa, the agency and independency that a Kai'Sa can have, and the potential playmaking of Azir, but ultimately aggression coming out from the side of Fnatic with a strong top side, and keep an eye on that Elise Vi combo in the early game. In contrast, Heretics, a lot of team fighting. Ezreal, Wukong, Leona, Cassante, they're going to be looking to set up around these objectives, leverage the poke and pick potential that they do have. Trying to walk into this composition can be very scary because of the Ahri charm and the potential lockdown coming from that Leona.
And I'm also looking then at Heretics and I'm saying, the backline targets you'd like to get in on are actually pretty slippery, so unless you Vi-ult the Ezreal in a good angle and he doesn't flash E away and drag the Vi to Narnia, not going to be always that easy to get onto that backline, assuming those dodge abilities are up and available.
Certainly the case. We'll see how the lockdown pans out for Fnatic. We're going to be jumping into the game, as we said, first game of the playoffs here in LEC. 3 weeks of action. It's going to be fearless, best of threes. The champions that you see on your screen, you're not going to see again for the rest of this series.
No Cassante for more than one game? Say it ain't so. Prepping to drop into the Rift, though, for our first game of playoffs here at the LEC Winter 2025. Let's be upstanding, folks. I love it. The chants are already in. We're not even a minute into the game. Gotta love the passion here.
See the runes at the bottom of your screen for those invested. Lethal tempo, bit of a, I guess you could say a bit of a shift in terms of Ezreal, but we're seeing that a lot more these days. The Electrocute receiving significant buffs on this patch. One of the biggest changes is how much extra damage you now get in the early game. And it's nothing to laugh about. Ooh, Humanoid already forced to flash away there. Heretics coming in with the delayed invade, looking to get some deep vision down. Humanoid going to be forced back to base very early on, but yeah, this Electrocute coming out from the Ahri and coming out from Mikyx on the Elise as well just gives you that extra bit of power throughout the game.
It does feel a lot nicer than it used to. It kind of was a bit anemic for a few patches, so particularly on things like the Elise, which are all about the base damages and support, you don't really get as much gold unless you really snowball. It can be very dangerous, especially as the Elise does need to get rolling. We've seen a few Elises around the world fail to do so and become a bit of an easy target for the likes of a Leona or a Wukong later on into a game.
We certainly have, but with the delayed invade and the lane swap coming through, Fnatic going to be looking to put some pressure down onto Carlsen in the top side of the map. Oscar, you should have seen Stend on that ward. He will take a decent amount of damage.
Trying to get in range for some experience. Don't think he did, looking at the bars under the health bars, or just above them rather. Head just a little bit further around as we are going to see exactly what this lane swap leaves to us. Vi and Elise early on, you said it was going to be dangerous. This Patante could be experiencing it in a few moments, I suspect.
I mean, Elise is so good at the tower dives, right? Because of her ability to reset the tower aggro. The cocoon has been locked in. Here we go.
Carlsen still at level 1. He's got the Pathmaker to make himself immune for a second or two to that CC, but he'll still just burn down. First blood donated to Upset.
Now Heretics looking to do the same on the other side of the map.
Okay, looking to make that one happen. Flash away from Oscarinin, trying to buy some time. Does his best to Drake count step, but just about surviving for now. Fnatic to getting away with it. Teleport back, and we're going again. Oh no, he's still level 1, Carlsen. Cocoon goes wide, and I think Fnatic are gonna breathe for a second. Another chunk comes on through with the Catherine Rain. There's the level 2, gets hit by the Vault Breaker. How aggressive do Fnatic want to play? They're still getting incidental damage down a half. Carlsen needs to be wary. Cooldown's coming off for Fnatic. Pathmaker used, big damage onto Mikyx, but he'll just repel to drop the aggro, but drops right in front of Carlsen. They're going to leave it alone for now, and Carlsen doesn't die a second time.
The good news for Carlsen is he's able to soak up a lot of the XP with the minions dying around him. But crucially, that kill went over to Fnatic. The first example, or the execution of the dive was so clean, and you see the strength of this Elise as well, the ability to just mitigate that tower shot. Unfortunately for Heretics on the bot side of the map, Oscarinin getting that level 2 was crucial. The shielding from the passive, providing that extra durability and enough space to be able to disengage from the dive and walk away with his life.
And we get a moment to breathe here. Slight gold lead now to Fnatic, courtesy of that first blood, and in the lane swap, that does feel pretty good. The Kai'Sa great into the Ezreal in mid-game, historically a bit of a counter, but once you're out of lane, once you get to use your ultimate to start jumping at the Ezreal who can't then run away, but early on, Ezreal in lane, especially before first backs come through, can be really obnoxious, especially if he lands a Q or 2.
They can be. And now with the dive sort of kind of returning to neutrality, as you highlighted, this gives an opportunity for junglers to move in to their opposing side jungle once more. These top laners are truly isolated from the rest of their team. Notice how Oscar is kind of struggling to know what his options are right now. There's no way for him to catch, and he realizes the jungle is no man's land. Kamiloo is the target.
Mikyx going to start crawling towards him. Dodges the cocoon, and Kamiloo will get out, but still hit by the volatile Spiderling. Nice cocoon into the neurotoxin, so a bit of a chunk. Not going to lead to anything more, but Rome gets some damage. You can take that for now.
Keep your eyes on the mini-map. Notice that Sheo has made his way into the top side of the map. Will secure his own Krugs. Razork going to be looking to do the same on the bot side of the map. So junglers finally entering the part of the jungle that was supposed to be theirs. As Upset now finds himself on the weak side. Mikyx has to return to the top side of the map. Information gained on the positioning of Stend, with Mikyx holding on to the level advantage for now. Upset just given that time to get that solo XP to match and keep up with Flakked, who's in the same position on the bot side of the map. Flakked getting that base off, now set his sights on the top side of the map, and Grub spawning in about 50 seconds becomes the first objective for both of these teams.
We've seen a lot of games won and lost around Grubs in recent patches. Feels like a lot of teams are willing to throw everything in the kitchen sink there with how valuable it can be to have that extra tower damage.
Keep your eyes on the mini-map, though. We talked about the Grubs, but it's actually the Dragon Meat starting off by Razork. This will be spotted out by Sheo.
Oh, wow. Has to leave. And Sheo not going to keep going on the Drake, though, so it just ends up being a bit of a disengage. I say that, and Sheo immediately Nimbus strikes back in. Carlsen on the reset is here first, but Razork not leaving as yet. And then he does that.
He's at risk of losing some farm on the bot side of the map, but he's going to make that sacrifice to secure the first objective of the game for his team. This should open up the grubs for Fnatic, but saying that, Flakked and Stend do also have the push, so they are able to get some information. The pings have come down from Fnatic on the top side river, acknowledging this is likely warded. And Sheo now moving towards the top side. I think Heretics is still in a position to be able to contest this.
I'm going to want to try and do that. We did see a reset from Oscarinin, but is not going to walk towards the grubs, going back towards that bot lane. Neither top laner with TP, so it would be a theoretical 4v4. Assuming Fnatic do want to come and contest. It's Heretics in the river first, though.
Look at the top wave, it's been pushed in. Mikyx and Upset are on their way. Razork, no level 6 yet for him. 6 secured for the mid laners, though.
It's a Fnatic death push against Fnatic. Mikyx on the very squishy spider has to be careful of the bug catching squad. He's just sat on a ward. That means the Zenith Blade just wide.
That's no flash.
Turn around, the Cocoon lands are going to try and make the punish happen. How dare you? Bush bait against Fnatic of all teams.
Small misplay there from Stend, with which Fnatic is quick to punish, and all in the bot lane.
Goes all out as Carlsen, looking to try and capitalize on the slightly swifter level 6. Won't get much more than a HP trade, though.
Oscar relatively low, but the moment that that all out disappears, Oscarinin can look for another all in of his own. They know that the jungler's on the top side of the map. 3 grubs secured for Fnatic, and another kill. So we're seeing about a 1.5k, 1.6k gold lead overall. And you look at the bottom of your screen, it's all green in favor of Fnatic for the time being.
They're feeling pretty happy, taking off where the regular season left off. They haven't lost a game, at least in 2025, since week 1, day 1, if I recall correctly. It's 8 games in a row they've won. We're looking to extend that here against Team Heretics, and it's a good early start for that.
We call that day the I accidentally left Skarner open day. And then the day after, they picked Skarner themselves against Heretics and had their fastest game of the split.
Says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does.
Best team in the league theoretically loses to Skarner and then just destroys people with it straight after. Turret dive potentially being seen, as Kamiloo will be spotted by that control ward, though. And a TP is summoned from Humanoid to defend that top tier 1.
Certainly is. Wow. Very defensive play there from Fnatic. You can see that they value the strength of their bot lane very much. And I know from experience that Upset, a very strong communicator in the draft, and I like their adaptation here. Quickly, Upset is going to go back to base. He's going to go catch that top wave. Humanoid's going to catch the top wave, and Upset's going to move to mid. And the stats speak for themselves. Of course, stats are only a small indicator of the potential, but I think in the gameplay and with the eye test, we've all seen the play that Upset have made so far in this split.
And he has kind of proven a lot of the haters wrong. They're going to go diving onto the Ahri with a flash, but Kamiloo will just ult away. Razork down the flash, tried to trick out the Ahri, then didn't quite succeed.
Bit of a misplay there from Razork, but in the end ends up being a flash traded for the ulti. I would say overall a win for Kamiloo.
Yeah, I would say you take that every day of the week, I think. Vibing down the flash can be pretty valuable, especially with her flash Q combos being pretty scary early on.
Mikyx hovering around the top side of the map. Going to cancel the base there from Flakked, so just a bit of time wasted. They'll stick around for another wave. Upset, you'll notice, pushing in the mid wave as well as Oscarinin making his way towards bot once more. Throughout the lane swap, I think we can say that Fnatic have been the ones that benefited the most. The fact that Oscar has about half a level of experience over that of Carlsen, has a CS advantage, has a gold advantage, on top of the fact that Upset was able to get one of the first kills and fold up on an assist, sitting on only about a 230 gold lead for now, but still, advantages across the board in favor of Fnatic.
Kai'Sa getting through the early game, getting to the point where she starts to get some of those upgrades and abilities. Feels really good. Mikyx, again interrupting these backs. Razork's around, will not have his ultimate up quite yet and available, but they might still look to dive this. Elise, one of the premier tower diving champions, going to be still warded off though as Sheo comes around. Flakked at 20% HP though, not enjoying his time under this turret.
The damage is relentless from both Mikyx and Humanoid. And as you rightly said, they're just being annoying. Flakked and Stend wanted to base many minutes ago, and they just haven't been able to get that opportunity.
Finally.
And now that they've gone back to base, Razork and Mikyx again on the aggression. sorry, I should say maintaining their aggression by just interrupting the banks. But now they will finally return to base themselves, look to make a few purchases. And notice the timing on the minimap. Upset recalling at exactly the same time, so they can all reset back out onto the map together. Black Cleaver secured now for Razork. Dragon going to be spawning in about 20 seconds, with the Grubs spawning in about 40. Fnatic set the sights on the bot side of the map. Oscarinin has his TP available. Just the timing and coordination coming through from Fnatic. Very clean on the map right now.
And they are, I think in many ways, the team that people are seeing as the best team in the league right now. Expected to make a deep run in playoffs, expected to potentially win the whole damn thing. They've certainly been playing like one of those very, very top teams here. And so far, so good in game one of the playoffs. Carlsen going to get shuffled away. I think Fnatic showing exactly why they're so dangerous. The coordination is going to leave their top laner. Picking up a kill is Razork. Nice kill. That's 3 kills, and that'll be the feat of martial might. They've still got a turret or another couple of objectives to get the full set for the feat of strength.
I mean, the setup was very clean. Mikyx and Razork immediately moved into the river to get vision control. They had Upset catching the wave at a numbers disadvantage in mid, while they then had Humanoid catching that bot wave, while Oscar TP'd, went top to catch the wave that was being pushed in by Kamiloo, ready to TP in at a moment's notice. Just the coordination coming through from Fnatic is on point right now, turning it into a kill onto Carlsen, and like he just didn't have the support. He clearly wasn't prepared for the collapse coming through. Fnatic now getting themselves a play on the top side of the map. Now, yes, they have conceded river control. This means that Heretics have been able to establish themselves with authority around this dragon, but Fnatic don't really seem to care all that much.
Heretics might, though. The Solar Flare lands, and it's onto the very squishy Razork right now, who goes down. That is a shutdown as well, picked up by Kamiloo's Ahri. Fnatic's Mikyx in danger. Has to flash away. Sheo still with the Cyclone running. Gets another bop. Carlsen came teleporting in to try and get someone more, and they can't. They'll get a kill. They'll get a flash off Mikyx. We'll back away for now.
A really nice punish from Heretics. Ooh. They realized that they had the numbers advantage. Humanoid was catching the wave in bot lane, and Fnatic was just in a position that they shouldn't have been allowed to be in. They were just sitting in the river, trying to contest, be obnoxious, be in the way, and I like that aggression from Stend. We saw towards the later weeks of the regular season, his flanks, his positioning. He was a great engager for the side of Heretics, and I like to see that confidence still coming through against a team like Fnatic, because these are the plays you need to be able to make. So great punish onto Razork.
I mean, when Stend was being praised down in ERL, was doing really well in the Mere Masters, LFL, NLC before that. He was basically known for being a huge engage player. That's what he did. For better and worse, sometimes there'd be a little bit of a sprint where he went a bit too far. But at his best, he has been such a proactive member of any team he's been on. And for Heretics, who are a very young roster, full of a lot of players who haven't got that much experience at this level yet, this is a great start, right? You're in playoffs for the first time. You managed to make it here, which is better than some people expected, frankly. And they are now still looking to try and throw some punches back, still looking to punish Fnatic for overstepping, frankly.
I mean, I put Heretics in E tier. I put them at the bottom of the barrel.
How dare you?
My expectations were incredibly low. I thought that, I mean, they got a mid laner from the second division of the LFL, not even like the main NFL, right? Where so many competitive mid laners we've seen find success here in the LEC. And so my expectations were kind of at the bottom of the barrel, and so to see them come in and find a lot of surprising wins. Getting that win against Koi was absolutely massive for them during the regular season as well. And while sure, 3 wins overall throughout the regular season isn't the most impressive, given that the expectations were so low, I feel like that they've very quickly been getting a lot of fans that weren't expected to be a fan of them, because they have been developing their identity, they're building confidence, and you can see that this is very much an investment project. When you get 3 rookies joining a roster, you can't expect them to come out the gate swinging, and it's a difficult matchup against Fnatic. Everyone's expecting Fnatic to be the heavy favorites here. So to see them being proactive, seeing them look for plays and playing with confidence is exactly what you like to see.
They're not coming in scared, which is genuinely a great sign. And I love what you're talking about there in terms of, like, look, they've only been playing for 3 weeks on stage in the LEC. The games happen really fast here, and they make playoffs in the first split. That's great news. What happens next split? What happens the split after that? Hell, what happens in this series? It's not written yet. We're only a few minutes into this game. Quick note on what's going on with the pause. Well, it looks like there's been an audio issue on stage, so hopefully that gets resolved soon. We'll be right back into the action.
Yeah, the ticker at the bottom of our screen will keep you updated very effectively.
That's very helpful.
Love the addition that we've gotten. And once it's resolved, we'll get back into the game. But it's a very tense affair. The gold is in favor of Fnatic for now, 20.3 to 18.2. So about a 2K lead in favor of Fnatic. A lot of that is sitting on the fact that Razork has been able to find 2 kills in the early game. They've been able to get a few plates in the early game as well, 2 being secured on the top side and on the bot side of the map. And when I look at the gold in a little bit more detail, yeah, it's basically just a lot of small incremental leads, with arguably the biggest one being on the top side, where Carlsen needs about 66 CS to the 92 of Oscar. So ready checks have come through, and it looks like we're going to be jumping back into the action.
Right back into it as it stands. Fnatic just lost their jungler. Razork got caught out along with the rest of the team here towards that dragon setup. Heretics, though, didn't start up the dragon, have backed away from it, happy enough with the kill. Carlsen right back to the top lane.
So now we still set our sights on these neutral objectives. Earlier we expected the dragon to come through, but Fnatic used their tempo to find a kill. Then they kind of overstayed their welcome, and Heretics, in response, found a kill of their own. So ultimately, we kind of reset back out onto the map. The Grubs now being the target for Fnatic, and Heretics a little slow to respond. Looks like they're not going to be in a great position to contest.
Feels like that's unlucky, especially with the waves all shoved, and Kamiloo with no TP towards that bot lane. Fnatic in a bit of a dodgy spot there. Oscarinin took a turret shot too many there, I feel.
He did. Minor misplay from Oscar, but he knew that his team was on the top side of the map to save him should things go south. Oscar no TP, of course. Humanoid may very well TP to the bot lane. We'll see if they look for a play under Carlsen.
Here we go. There goes Humanoid trying to get the catch. Fails, and Carlsen will just press W and get away.
That is a thumbs up from Carlsen. Happy with the misplay from Humanoids, as the Grubs do fall in favor of Fnatic. Now, Grubs were nerfed ever so slightly, but 6 Grubs still a nice advantage to find yourself with.
That is, of course, Humanoid here with the Nash's tooth first on the Azir as well. It means he does pretty respectable damage to turrets with this build, so I expect Fnatic will be swiftly claiming the first turret of the game. Kamiloo is going to have Sheo supporting him, trying to shove up here against this tier 1, but I think Oscarinin should be okay to clear this one up. But here comes the rest of the squad. Solarfell landing, and Ambessa is down for the count. Flakked picks it up with the assistance of his True Shot Barrage.
Very nice dive coming through from Heretics, making up for their earlier play, where the dive didn't go quite as planned. But tower now looking to be defended by Fnatic. The TP comes through from Humanoid. Could this be a repeat dive coming out from Heretics?
Oh, Humanoid, remember no ult, but there is Razork, gets the smite on Stend, trying to slow him down. Charm just wide, and Fnatic defend the tier 1.
Heretics now on the retreat. The problem for Heretics is they invested that time into the dive. They don't get the tower, and now all of Fnatic's on the bot side of the map, meaning that Fnatic can look to start off the dragon. There's a big tempo advantage that they'll find themselves with. Oscar going to be setting his sights on the top lane to be able to catch that wave. So Heretics, while they do find themselves a kill, they will unfortunately concede themselves another objective. The feats of strength, of course, already secured by Fnatic thanks to their first 3 kills, and the tower they did secure earlier. Heretics going to be forced to reset, go back to base, pick up some crucial items, but another tower falls in favor of Fnatic. And you can see how very quickly this game is starting to snowball out of control. It's not completely out of control just yet, but 3k gold leads.
Significant.
2 towers in favor of Fnatic. Second item's very quickly being worked on.
And you're kind of obligated to do that when you are running with the Elise. If you start falling behind with that champion, it feels pretty miserable. And when you're running the Vi, when you're running the Ambessa, you do want to be kind of putting your foot on the pedal with that combo. And so far, so good from Fnatic. But if Team Heretics can hold the gold lead here, kind of wait 5-10 minutes and still be in the same sort of position, they'll be feeling a lot happy with their comp. A lot stronger front line, their back line pretty slippery. You could definitely play it out from there.
I mean, one of the things I've grown to like about the changes made this year was the relentless objectives that you find yourself in the face of. We've got Herald spawning in 15 seconds, and everyone finds themselves with an item spike, but Fnatic with half an item completed on the other side. So the question for Heretics is, do we feel confident enough to contest them on this Herald, or are we willing to concede it? I think that with double Trinity Force on the side of Heretics, oh, they're going.
Gonna try and blow up the spider. They do pick off Mickey. Nice moment. Kamiloo still with 2 charges after the ultimate, just wide with the charm. Turn around to Carlsen, but that is a Cassandre. Not the easiest target, nonetheless, but Fnatic continue. And I stand straight corrected. He is dead to rights.
That is the Vi Ambessa combo that we've seen work so effectively here in the LEC. They shut down Carlsen.
Here we go. Goes jumping on in, and a nice little combo as Oscarinin follows up to allow another kill to go over to Fnatic.
A promising pick comes through from Heretics initially, but then they flounder. They're too separated. Fnatic find 2 quick picks of their own. They'll convert it into the Herald, and that 3k gold lead ever so slightly grows to 3.5.
And look, I know you're playing Ezreal, I know you're playing Ahri, but you got to listen to the name of the combo. It is the public restraining order. 200 meters away at all time, or despite a pick like this, it can all go wrong.
I mean, Mickey was washed out by the rain very quickly. A nice pick initially comes through from Heretics, but then they turn their attention onto Carlsen, as in the same way that you thought. He probably thought he was fine. He still had his flasher, but that chain CC was just ruthless. And then Upset said, you know what? I'm going to catch this mid wave. Humanoid, you go help the team. Maybe you can catch the top wave as well. And Oscar's like, well, I need a place to go. How about I just go mid lane? Catches him with the R off screen. I mean, I barely saw it, and I'm a spectator. Ultimate going to come through from Kamiloo to get away to safety, but yeah, tough one there for Flakked. He had both the summoners up, but he was not ready for Oscar to catch him off guard.
It looked like something we'd seen around the world. Oh, Elise getting caught. Oh no, what happens? And then still turns out Fnatic were able to turn it around. They pick up the Herald off the back of that too, find themselves up to 3,500 gold. That lead continues to extend. Stend throws down the Eclipse to be able to run away, despite Mikyx just catching him with that cocoon. Team Heretics trying to defend their own jungle here as the wards from Fnatic start to get put very deep and this rub buff being fought over.
Razork going to drop the Herald to assist Upset with the siege in mids. Look at the chip damage coming through. Stend incredibly low. I mean, the Leandry's being finished for Humanoid means that he's going to chip away at these HP bars very effectively. And there's the Herald to chip away even more at that tower as well. Fnatic really dictating the pace of the game now. We talked about how their composition is very much about skirmishing, diving onto the back line. And Heretics are falling to the pressure as of right now. Oscar very clearly online with the Ambessa. Look at the damage he's getting out onto Carlsen.
Carlsen not enjoying that in the slightest. Nearly 2,000 gold up individually. That's pretty scary. On the other side, Flash, Vault Breaker into an Emperor's Divide. It divides Kamiloo from all of his health points.
Razork, oh, hang on.
We're still going. Carlsen nearly going down, trying to spend as much time as he can. Flash on the other side, and the turret disengaged from Oscarinin, dodging away, not even with the Drake-Hound step, just straight up footwork. Needs to get to the other side of this turret, though. Drake-Hound stepping as far as he can and gets out from a very deep dive.
That's the scary thing about K'Sante. He looks like he's low HP, but the moment he throws that ultimate out, he can turn the tides of any skirmish. Oscar now even lower on HP. Carlsen looking for a play. He's not going to find it. He's not going to find it. Top tower in the meanwhile did fall. Fnatic securing themselves their third tower of the game, while Heretics yet to find one of their own. Sheo
looking for it. Oscarinin, though, is still pretty damn mobile on this Ambessa. Gonna try and keep running away as fast as he can. There's a smite and Nimbus strike, but it's not going to lead to anything else.
The problem is that's a lot of time now spent for Sheo, and the collapse is very quickly coming through from Fnatic.
Here comes the Fnatic Goon Squad looking to jump on his. Stend is there. Sheo, though, clones away for a moment, but I think that's just going to allow a killer instinct from Upset, who might think about flashing after this. Don't want to do that. Razork will instead just queue on forwards with a smite. Upset gets the shutdown.
They didn't want to waste any time there. Upset committing the flash to helping secure that kill. And just an overreach from Sheo. He thought he could find a quick pick onto Oscar, but even if he did, Oscar has the TP ready to rejoin the fight. It leaves open now the voracious Otacon, and now it feels like the game is slipping away from Heretics. Their options are quickly depleting as Fnatic only continues to ramp up.
You've possibly been kind by saying slipping. I think it has just straight up slipped. Kamiloo now in danger as Oscarinin lands the public execution. 6,500 gold behind. Otacon is falling as we speak, and Team Heretics can't even cross map because the Ambassador lands an ult.
Ooh, Kamiloo.
No, pushes for it! He is taking no prisoners.
He can get another one.
He's got a withdrawal level. He can go as deep as he likes. 5 levels up on Stend. Instead they'll just turn back towards the dragon. Oscarinin. That's just not nice, mate.
I mean, it was the first pick Ambessa, and he has made it work. Surviving the tower dive at level 1, coordinating with Razork to find the picks in the team fight, and now finding a solo kill in the side lane. His impact has truly been felt in this game.
I want to glow up from this player over the last couple of years. I remember when he first joined, and people were like, is this really going to be the Fnatic top laner? How good is he really going to be? Yeah, he plays some weird stuff, but is he LEC caliber? I think he pretty decidedly is, though, nowadays. Look at that kind of play. Smashing on the Ambessa. He is 2,500 gold up individually, finding kills on the resets like that. There is just a confidence to the whole team. And Oscarinin is certainly looking to shine here in playoffs.
And in the draft, we talked about how there are certain champions that you have to be cautious about handing over to Razork, and you're really understanding why the Vi is so feared in the hands of this man in the jungle. He's been involved in 6 of the team's 8 kills. He did miss 1 flash Q combo in the mid lane, but aside from that, he has just been on point with the Vi, setting up his team for success across the board. And yeah, I mean, Mikyx, I'll say, has been a little quiet his early game. We definitely felt the Elise just being obnoxious. But while we've often spoken about the while we've often spoken about the Mikyx Razork combo, this game very much feels like the Oscar Razork combo in terms of their setup and playmaking.
Fnatic with the withdrawals available are going to use them to dive very deep indeed. Flakked is annihilated. All out onto Upset, who just does not care. Another kill secured. Tier 2 under siege. Razork will claim that one. All the while, of course, Humanoid is shoving into the Tier 3. Fnatic unrelenting in this game 1.
The coordination just feels like it's on another level. Fnatic is executing to perfection. They're going to secure 2 inhibitors just like that. The Baron isn't even up yet. And they're setting their sights on the Nexus.
Team Heretics, you still got to deal with all of the withdrawals. Fnatic can go hell to leather here, die and be just fine about it. They're not going to go that deep this time around. They'll back up, but 2 inhibitors down. 22.5 minutes into the game. Fnatic are just putting Team Heretics to the sword, frankly.
The false life is just about to wear off, so Fnatic choose not to overstay their welcome. They will pick apart the bones left of Heretics jungle to deny them as much gold as possible. But you saw how quickly what was only a 3k gold lead has ballooned into 9,000 in Fnatic's favor. We look back at this dive, and again, we've talked about this top jungle combo. Look, here it comes from Oscar.
Beautiful.
Connects the ulti, the follow-up from Razork, and then to finish it off, Upset with the damage. This was the dive that we talked about in the draft. You see it executed to perfection. And Fnatic just steamrolling here in this first game of this best of 3.
Despite the fact that that's a skill shot, that's a max range ult, Oscarinin still lands it. That is just nasty. And Ezreal, notoriously mobile, notoriously hard to get a hold of. Picking moments like that is gonna sting. As now Soul Point over 9,000 gold, inhibitor's broken. I think Team Heretics, it's a miracle or bust in this game if they want to find a win.
But I feel like this is the type of game that Fnatic fans want to see.
Yes.
We've seen Fnatic come very close to a championship throughout the entirety of last year, and
oh, nice angle on it. Kamiloo's going to ult away. Oscarinin lands another ult. Sheo trading out with Razork, but that's a Cyclone down, and in goes Humanoid with a slight glide and divide, and in comes a killer instinct from Upset, who helps the rest of the team clean stuff up. It's Mikyx who claims the kill on the Ahri. The Fox loses to the Spider. Another Cocoon. Upset on a killing spree. And Flakked and Stend, Heretics bot lane, have got an insane job, an impossible job to do, defending the Nexus against the full might of Fnatic. This game is over. Fnatic are taking no prisoners. They execute Heretics. 24.5 minutes in. Game 1 of playoffs is Fnatic's, and it wasn't close.
A very clean game from Fnatic, start to finish. The way they executed the lane swap, the way that they controlled and coordinated in the mid game. They only conceded 1 tower, and that was, they traded 2 inhibitors for it. This is the Fnatic that we've come to expect here in Winter, and they are very impressive.
But that's enough from us. We'll go to the break, and after that, the desk has it from there.